Hi everybody. Well, I got a new Hobie kayak. It's a Hobie Compass. And as you know, I've been using a Garmin Striker 4 fish finder. But Hobie comes Lowrance Ready. So the question is, how do I mount a Garmin Striker 4 fish finder transducer onto a Hobie Lowrance Ready Hobie kayak? Stay tuned and I'll show you how I did that for $1.18. Okay, so what you're gonna need is you're gonna need a Phillips head screwdriver. You're gonna need a 3/8 inch socket. Those are the two tools and only tools that you'll need for this job. You can use a 3/8 inch wrench instead, or just a pair of pliers if that's what you have. Now, with the Hobie Lowrance Ready system comes these parts that you're gonna need. I don't know what to call this one, but it's a plastic doohickey part. But you see what it looks like. You need two of these. You need the bolt, stainless steel bolt that comes, and you need the 3/8 inch nut that fits on that bolt with the lock nut. These parts come together with a Hobie kayak. It's in the Lowrance Ready package that comes with your kayak. Now, what comes with the Garmin that you need? Well, you're gonna need the Garmin transducer, which I've already fed up through the appropriate hole. You're gonna need the thimble that comes with that transducer, the thimble. There's a spacing washer that comes in that package as well as a stainless steel bolt, and it comes with a 3/8 inch locking nut. Those are the components that you're going to need from the Garmin Striker 4 package. Now, what else do you need? You need two of these guys. So, what they are is they are two-hole straps, part number 42820. It comes 5 in a bag, EMT from Pro-Connex. You can get these at your local hardware store. But interestingly, if you look at the dimensions of those, the dimensions, focus in, I wrote down already for you. Right there. So it's 2¼ inch long, it's a 1/2 inch wide, and the hole spacing is 1.5 inches. So that is that component. All right, so how do we put all of this together? These two components, by the way, they came in a 5-pack for $1.18 at Lowe's. I'll put all the information in the description below for these parts at Lowe's. So, how do we do this? The first thing is you take your transducer. It's going to sit just like this, and it needs to sit as close to those rails as possible, and that's because of how the Hobie kayak itself is positioned, or has a hole for the transducer. Get you a little bit more square there. So it needs to sit as close as it can to that. So what do? We take this component and we use it on the outside of the transducer like this. That's what you want it to look like. How do we get it there? Well, we take our bolt, thread it through an end of one of these components. We stick the thimble in between the holes, that component. On the other side of that thimble, in the gap, So there's a gap. The thimble sits there, and you see that gap right there. You fill that gap with this washer. It's a little tricky, but you can do it with some time. So what I do is I put the washer on the end of the thimble, stick it in there, and get the bolt to go all the way through. So when you're done, you've got this on the outside of the transducer arm, the thimble on the inside, the washer there, and the bolt runs all the way through it. Now on the other side, you put this so that it looks like that, and you put your nut. So now we won't tighten it all the way, but we'll get the thread started to keep these components together. It's always a little tricky. So. All right, so I'm just tightening the nut, but I'm not tightening it all the way. So that's what you have right there thus far. Got your transducer, a nut, this component, then the arm of the transducer, then the washer, the thimble, then the arm of the transducer, this second component, and that. Now all you do is put those on the outside of the arm, the Hobie arm there. So now we just thread, and I'll do it from the other side, the Lowrance Ready bolt through, and it just fits. Then this component that is situated like this. So this little arm runs up and down, and you want the long part to point to the ground. This other one fits inside of here as well on the other side. So these form a little bit of a sandwich. You see how that fills that gap? It's much like the thimble. So what we want to do is we want to put this on the outside, run the bolt all the way through, put this on the other side, and then lock it together with the nut. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Put that on, lock it together with the nut. And we're going to get it started a little bit. But we won't tighten it all the way, just enough. So now what you have looks like that. Transducer's hanging and swinging. And really that's it. Now what you have to do is position this, so the transducer, so it's 1/8 of an inch off of the bottom plate. And you can just kind of do that by hand, lock both these in place, and this will slide right into your kayak, and you've got it connected. That's it. 2 components that you can purchase at Lowe's or any hardware store like a Home Depot for $1.18 or hopefully less, and your transducer is mounted, your Garmin Striker 4 transducer is mounted to your Hobie Lowrance plate. Hope that helps. See you next time in the marsh.